and welcome to this YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss four main topics related to the target prelims 2024, in which we would discuss some important topics which were related to the international affairs and that had happened last 1 year from last 1 year. So without wasting any time, let's jump to the topic and let's start here by discussing India and Greece relationship, and we will discuss what were the developments from last 1 year in this relation and how it is important for the UPSC. So uh, let's jump to the slide. As we can see here that Indian Prime Minister who recently visited Greece for the first time in 4 decades. From last 40 years, it was the first visit from an Indian Prime Minister to the Greece, and there were many agreements which were upgraded, many agreements were signed, and let's discuss about that. Here we can see that India and Greece they agreed to upgrade their bilateral ties to a level of strategic partnership, and further they would expand bilateral cooperation in political security and economic spheres. So all these important areas we would update our bilateral ties to the strategic partnership, and also we can see from here that Indian Prime Minister he was conferred with the Grand Cross of the Order of Honor, which is Greece's second highest civilian honor. So usually we should know these important points because UPSC they have the habit of asking such questions. So I would repeat it once again, and the honor which was bestowed on our PM, it is the Grand Cross of the Order of Honor. It is from Greece, so we should know that it is the second highest civilian honor. Let us move forward and see what we have to discuss more about this relationship. Here, there are some highlights of this visit. We can see from here that India welcomed Greece into the International Solar Alliance and looked forward to Greece's membership of the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. So, India welcomed Greece into the International Solar Alliance, and we are looking forward to Greece's membership for the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. We also encourage joint efforts in preserving and protecting ancient sites and strengthen cooperation with UNESCO. Both countries they have agreed on the finalization of the mobility and migration partnership agreements, which would facilitate skilled migration. So here in this slide, we understood three main points which we need to remember. It is India first welcomed the Greece into ISA, which is International Solar Alliance, and also about the coalition in disaster resilient infrastructure, Greece's coalition in disaster resilient infrastructure. And as we can see, we encourage joint efforts in preserving and protecting ancient sites with strength ancient sites and strength in cooperation with UNESCO. As whenever we hear of Greece, whenever Greece is discussed, one thing as an IS aspirant comes to our mind, it is Gandhara arts. So this is it is a little glimpse of our relationship, how deep our relationship is, how our historic ties are, and the influence of Greece in the Gandhara arts. Or so we also both countries we agreed on the finalization of the mobility and migration partnership agreement to facilitate skilled migration. Let us move forward and see what we have to discuss more. What is this? What is the significance of Greece for India? Let us see that Here we should know that Greece has always supported India's membership in many multi multi countries organizations. For example, Greece supported India's membership at Energy, which is National Suppliers Group, and also bids for a permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. We have geopolitical relationship with the Greece and Armenia, as we had already discussed about Turkey, Pakistan, and Azerbaijan military axis. That would be we are trying to counter it by developing great partnership with Greece and Armenia. So we have geopolitical relationship which we have to improve, and also our relationship with Greece would help us to counter the increased Chinese presence in the region. Also, it is a very much geostrategically important for us. Greece borders with the Mediterranean Sea, and we know that Mediterranean Sea it covers three continents, that is Asia, Africa, and Europe. And by this partnership with Greece, we can have access to this Mediterranean Sea, and in this Mediterranean region, it would be vital for India's Indo-Pacific policy. Here we understood the few points in the significance of the Greece for India. For example, I would repeat it again. Greece supports us in multi-organizations, multi-country organizations like energy, like they bid for a permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. It is geopolitically important for us to develop relations with Greece and Armenia to counter Turkey, Pakistan, and Azerbaijan, which is also military axis, often referred as the Three Brothers, and also it is geostrategical importance. It is the location as it borders the Mediterranean Sea, and by having good ties with the Greece, we can get access to this Mediterranean Sea, which is vital for our Indo-Pacific policy. Moving forward, we can see from this slide that it gives us access to the European market, as India is exporting a multimodal link between Mumbai and the European mainland via the Greek transshipment port of Piraeus. So we should know that UPSC may ask such questions. They would give us the port and they would ask us in which country it is. We should know that this Piraeus port it is in Greek, and also this will allow much faster shipment of Indian goods to markets in the entire Eurasian region. This is also part of the newly announced India Middle East Europe Economic Corridor sealed at G20 summit last year. And also about energy hub, the Mediterranean region can be a potential source to meet India's increasing energy demand and enhance energy security, given its vast resources of oil and gas. This would help us uh, in procuring in getting this energy resources from this region, and also it is important for us in defense and security, with Greece expanding its defense expenditure from US 5 billion to 8.4 billion. It can act as a potential market for India's defense export. India and Greece have engaged in joint naval exercises in the Mediterranean Sea and multinational air force exercise INICOS 2023. So we should know that multinational air force exercise it is INICOS between Greece and India. So let's see what are the concerns with India-Greece relationship. As I always say, when you have to write the concerns, please don't forget to write the China part in it. It would fit everywhere with every country. The main important concerns is we have lack of bilateral engagements. The absence of high-level interaction in 4 decades has resulted in a lack of strong strategic connections. As since the last decades, so we did not have that kind of relationship. We so and this was one of the setbacks to our relationship, and also China's presence. China's state-owned shipping company Costco It has approximately 60% stake in the Pyrus port and thus can hamper India's connectivity plans and trade opportunities through the port. And also the trade and investment is very low. India's trade relations with Greece face challenges characterized by limited business opportunities, insufficient investment and capital inflow, a shortage of enterprises capable of bolstering exports, and many others. Let us more about it. Yeah, it was enough about and the India-Greece relationship. Now let's move to the another topic, which is BRICS. We can see from here the 15th BRICS summit, the first in-person meeting since 2019 was held in Johannesburg, South Africa. So as we know from 2019 it was COVID era and we couldn't it was very difficult for people to get engaged. So it used to happen via electronic mode. But this year this 15th BRICS summit, it was the first in-person meeting since 2019, and also South Africa has chosen the theme for BRICS and Africa, which is partnership for mutually accelerated growth, sustainable development, and inclusive multilateralism for the summit. So such questions may be asked in the exam: which country chose the theme for the 15th BRICS summit, or what is the theme for the 15th BRICS summit? They can directly ask such questions. So we should know that it is partnership for mutually accelerated growth, sustainable development, and inclusive multilateralism for the summit. And also apart from BRICS leaders, we can see South Africa had invited all 55 members of the African Union to the event and about 20 other leaders from Asia, South America, and small island states who represent the global south for sessions on the sidelines of the summit. So Africa invited 55 members of the all 55 members of the African Union to the event and about 20 other leaders from Asia, South America, and small island states to this summit. About BRICS, we should know that BRICS they started their dialogue in 2006 with the induction of South Africa in 2000. Earlier it was only BRIC, as South Africa was not the part of this organization. They became the part of this organization in 2010 and BRICS came into existence. What are how it represents? So if we will see global 41% of the global population, it contributes to the 41% of the global population, 24% of the global GDP, and 16% of the global trade. What are the member? Who are the members? We can see it is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. What are the major initiatives of the BRICS? We can see it from here. BRICS countries institutionalized a new development bank in 2014. We have contingency reserve arrangement CRA of BRICS to provide short-term liquidity support to the members. Such points we should remember: this contingency reserve arrangement, it is of BRICS. It is for to provide short-term liquidity support to the members, and also BRICS R&D Center for Vaccines to prevent and control infectious diseases. We have significant growth in BRICS investment and trade in 2022. Trade between BRICS countries totaled some 162 billion in 2022. Let's move forward and see what was the outcome of the BRICS summit. First, the expansion was one of the outcome of it. BRICS members they agreed to induct 6 new member countries with their membership coming into effect from January 2024. These countries include Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, South Africa, and the UAE. We can see there are 2 African countries. We have Middle East countries, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and UAE. But Argentina, they also wanted to join, but at the end of the 2023, they decided not to join as they wanted to align with Israel and US. So Argentina withdrew from this. Also, we had Johannesburg II declaration. It can encapsulates significant BRICS viewpoint on global economic, financial, and political matters. We have three pillars in it. BRICS members committed themselves to strengthening the framework of mutually beneficial BRICS cooperation under three pillars of which are political and security, economic and financial, and culture and people-to-people cooperation. And one of its outcome was to enhance strategic partnership with a focus on areas like the promotion of peace, a more representative, fairer international order, a reinvigorated and reformed multilateral system, sustainable development, and inclusive growth. And also one main outcome of this is trading in local currencies. This summit tasked BRICS finance ministers and or central bank governors to consider the issue of local currencies, payment instruments, and platforms, and also push for UN reforms. The statement, for the first time in the recent past, said that BRICS countries support a comprehensive reform of the UN, including its Security Council. What are India's proposals? We have what India proposed during the summit. We proposed about space corporation. India's Prime Minister called for establishing a BRICS space exploration consortium that would focus on space research and weather monitoring for global good. As we can see, it is already working on the BRICS satellite constellation and also inclusion in G20. India proposed that all the BRICS nations and the African Union be permanent members of the G20. And we can see here future ready BRICS. India called for cooperation in the areas of education, skills development, and technology to make BRICS a future ready organization. India also proposed a skill mapping exercise to complement each other in their development journey. Other proposals advocated by India, we can see big cat protection between these five countries. We have building resilient supply chains advocated during BRICS Business Forum and building a repository for traditional medicine. These were the proposals proposed by India during the summit. If we can see now, one of the main outcome of this summit was the expansion of the BRICS. Let's see what is the significance of BRICS expansion. Here we have geopolitical and geoeconomic expansion. The expansion signifies a growth alignment of geopolitical and economic agendas with the BRICS. It incorporates major global oil producer near crucial trade checkpoints such as Suez Canal, Bab el-Mandeb, Strait of Hormuz. So it is very important. Also infrastructural linkages we can see from this expansion. Expanding BRICS opens up new horizons of economic and people-to-people contact. India, Iran, Russia are already developing as we know that they are already developing international north-south transport corridor. And also Africa's growth inclusion of two African countries strengthens the ongoing efforts to promote integration, development and growth through the African continental free trade area. For the global peace, the induction of four major Middle East players, Egypt, Iran, UAE and Saudi, gives BRICS a major boost as these countries have been at odds with each other. And also we can see reform of the multilateral system. BRICS will greatly push forward the agenda for reform in the present system of multilateralism, where Western powers play a dominant role. There are some emerging challenges to the BRICS with the expansion and other reforms. We can see what are the challenges with the expansion of the BRICS and other reforms which were put forward. We can see dilution of original purpose. The rapid expansion of members could dilute the original purpose of the BRICS grouping, especially if China is seen as taking a dominant position in the group. China factor, it is believed by many that expansion of BRICS is a political maneuver to advance China's vision of international order. And also India's balancing interests as the BRICS and economic grouping becomes more strategic and political. As it was initially more focused on economics, now it would become strategic and political. India may find its balancing act with the Quad, SCO, and Indo-Pacific economic framework more difficult. Also, we have geopolitical dimensions. Tensions between different countries may now make BRICS more unwidely to run, like we had seen in SARC due to the tensions between India and Pakistan. That has hampered the functioning of the SARC. Similarly, Egypt and Ethiopia, they have a dispute over Nile River, and there are many other disputes, for example, between Iran and Saudi Arabia. So uh, this may hamper the functioning of the BRICS. And also, there is no clear membership criteria. A clearly defined membership criteria has not been put in the public domain. There are difficulties in intra-BRICS trade. The sanctions Iran face might make intra-BRICS trade more difficult to grow. Both Russia and Iran are now of the SWIFT system. And we also should push to minilateralism. With expanding BRICS. We are seeing a new wave of minilateralism, which is a style of diplomatic engagement that gives prominence to small and medium-sized coalitions of like-minded states. What is the problem with it, with the minilateralism? It is that it threatens to further erode our means of global collective action needed to tackle the massive threats posed to humanity today. Now let's move to our third important discussion of today's class. It is about Malabar. It is not the heading of this is not just an exercise. So let's discuss about it. Go in a little bit detail about this important topic. As we can see here from the slide, India, Japan, United States, and Australia, they held the Malabar naval exercise off the coast of Sydney Pacific Ocean for the first time. It was held for the first time in the Pacific Ocean. It was held previously. It was held in the Indian Ocean. So let us go little bit background of the exercise in conjunction with the Quad. And as we can see, in 1992, Malabar naval exercise commenced as a bilateral exercise between India and USA. It was initially between India and USA, and in 2007, it was for the first time the exercise also included Australia, Japan, and Singapore in it. So from India to USA, it became five member countries exercise. They included Australia, Japan, and Singapore. But in the same year, the US, Japan, Australia, and India, they converged in the Quad 1.0, which is Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. But in 2008, China's protest to the accord, Australia and subsequently Japan, they dropped out of the exercise and Quad 2. In 2005, Japan became a permanent participant in the Malabar exercise again. It first dropped in 2008, and in 2015 they again joined it and became the permanent participant of this. In 2020, Australia rejoined it after the revival of Quad 2.0. The China factor, which was key to the failure of Quad 1.0 to take off just a decade later, appears to be serving as a pivotal around which Quad 2.0 rejuvenated. So this is a little bit about the connection between this Malabar exercise and the Quad. Let's move forward and see what we have to discuss in this topic. We have to discuss about the geopolitical importance of Malabar exercise and connected events. Here we have to discuss first about the strategic convergence, shifting exercise from Malabar coast to the Bay of Bengal and alternating between the later and the Western Pacific regions suggests a strategic convergence between the participants in the Indo-Pacific. This shifting from Malabar coast to the Bay of Bengal to the Indo-Pacific and to the Western Pacific region, it suggests the convergence between the participants in the Indo-Pacific. It suggests the strategic importance of the Indo-Pacific and securing the Indo-Pacific, and also balance of power. As we know that China's assertiveness in the Indo-Pacific region through OB or logistics space, depth traps, etc., disturbs the balance of power in the region. This exercise tilts the balance of power towards the larger Pacific region and in some ways acts as a reinforcement exercise in the context of the rising power of China. Also, general Indo-Pacific stability, the Quad and the Malabar exercise should be viewed as a major step towards building a sustainable Indo-Pacific coalition. And also we have to discuss protecting global commons. Here, the growing instability in the international order, including the weakening of US influence in the Indo-Pacific, makes a strong case for protection of the global commons. Quad and Malabar help in this regard. Let's move forward. Rules-based international order. Quad countries have affirmed their commitment to uphold the rule of law and freedom of navigation in the international seas, and upholding the territorial integrity and sovereignty of all the states as essential. We see from here that it establishes trust and military cooperation. The naval cooperation among major powers in the Indian Ocean region has had limited success, which we know, and the strategic distrust levels still remain quite high due to their competing interests. Malabar exercise is one of such other initiatives like Indian Ocean Rim Association and the Indian Ocean Naval Association to address the issue. This lack of trust issue is addressed by these these associations, including Malabar exercise. What is the significance of these developments for India? Development of strong maritime order. A conducive maritime order requires to be underpinned by naval power projection capabilities. This includes sea control, aircraft carriers, surface ships, and sea denial submarines, underwater drones, etc. Malabar exercise helps further enhance such capabilities along with the protection of navigation routes for seaborne commercial traffic and control over navigation checkpoints. So it helps in development of the strong maritime order. It helps in developing strong submarines. This in all the dimensions of the security. It helps in tracking the security of the region. We can also see that national military capabilities, it helps in increasing this national military capabilities. Although the code's present objective, its members also actively cooperate to build each other's economic, technological, and military capabilities, specifically in the context of rising China. So these countries help to develop each other's national military capabilities to counter the rising China. Also, we can see it would help in strengthening India's Sagar policy, Sagar, which is security and growth for all in the region, vision, and the requirement to safeguard the region alongside protecting our national interests. These exercises can help enable this policy, for example, information sharing during natural disaster and enhanced capacity in case of search and rescue. It has economic significance also. As India's economy grew, so did its larger maritime interests, thus encouraging to look beyond the proximate oceanic space. Japan and the USA bring to the table considerable capital and economic support to India. Moving forward, let's move to our last discussion of the today's class. It is about global value chains. So by global value chains, if we want to understand it in layman's language, we would say that it is connecting different countries by a single thread while doing the business. It is the simplest way to understand it. So the impact of one country can be can be one of its drawback is that the impact of one country's economy can be featured or can be uh, felt in different countries which are the part of this chain. So let's discuss more about it. Let's go in detail. and let us see what these slides bring us, what the writer has to give us. As we can see here from trade and investment ministries of G20 nations under India's G20 presidency, these ministries they agreed to map global value chains and adopted a G20 generic framework for mapping GVCs. So we can see from here that trade and investment ministries of G20 nations they agreed to map global value chains and also adopted a G20 generic framework for mapping global value chains. Let's discuss more about what are global value chains. By definition, we should understand that GVCs they consist of intricate production networks that are fragmented across multiple firms and countries for cost optimization and for achieving production efficiency. Goal is to achieve the production efficiency in different markets which are connected, different fragments of the markets which are connected. And distinct from it is distinct from international trade, unlike traditional international trade whose transactions involve only two countries, an exporting country and an importing country. GVC trade crosses borders multiple times. As we can see in international trade, there are it is different. GVCs are different from international trade. In traditional international trade, in the countries which are involved in transactions are only two, which are one is exporting and another is importing. But in GVCs, it passes through, as I told you earlier while we started discussing about GVCs, it is felt impact of one country is felt in every country. So these trade it crosses borders multiple times. About GVC participation, countries can participate in GVCs by engaging in either backward or forward linkages. Let us know more about backward linkage and forward linkage. Here we can see backward linkage GVC participation is when a country uses inputs from another country for domestic production. Whenever a country uses inputs from another country for domestic production, it is called backward GVC, and by forward GVC participation, it is when a country supplies inputs that are used for production in another country. So such questions UPSC may ask and they may interchange these lines, so it is our right and duty to understand it, to remember it properly. Let me repeat it again. Backward GVC participation is when a country uses inputs for another country for from when country uses inputs from another country for their domestic production, and also forward GVC participation is when a country supplies inputs that are used for production in another country. About current GVC distribution, a few countries in Asia, Europe, and North America they have driven GVC expansion over the past 30 years. Europe is the most regionally integrated region with 4 times as many regional linkages as global linkages. South Asia, the Middle East, and North Africa are the least regionally integrated regions. So, Southeast South Asia, the Middle East, and North Africa, they are the least regionally integrated regions. About what are the determinants of the GVC participation, here we would just remember it. We have factors, endowments, which is labor, capital, resources, market size, what is the market size, geographic and connective, how where it is located, and what how is it accessible, it is connectivity. Then institutional quality, what is the quality of the products, and what are the trade agreements. So these are the determinants of the GVC participation. If I would repeat it again, these are factors, endowments like labor, capital, resources, market size, how big the market is, geography and connectivity, institutional quality, and trade agreements. Further, what is the significance of GVC participation for countries? It would support economic growth by taking part in global economy. Countries can create specialized industries for specific stages of value chain. It would help in achieving economies of scale in a niche area or part of a production. It has environmental effects. Environmental effects remain distributed across the value chain along with standardization of the mitigation practices. And also we can see from here that GVC can boost inclusive and sustainable growth by streamlining economic systems. Also opportunity for technology transfer and knowledge sharing opens up in GVC. So these are the few points which we should know, that what is the significance of the GVC. It is basically such questions, maybe they are not prelims oriented, they are basically mains oriented. So who should know that what what is the significance of GVC. About risks and challenges in GVC participation, we have economic gaps. It is one of the major risks. There is a risk of widening economic gaps between countries, since the gains from GVC participations are not distributed equally across and within countries. Some developing countries participating in GVC, for example, may find themselves locked in low value added activities in the longer run. So the gains of this economic developments, or the the gains for the countries participating in GVC is not equally distributed, and for lower income countries, they may find themselves in a locked loop. So this is one of the challenge to it. And also risk of external shocks. GVC participation increases the local economy exposure, albeit not necessarily it is able to cope with external shocks. Recent examples suggest that the increasing complexities of GVCs are contributing to increased dependencies and heightened vulnerabilities to disruptions. So, risk of external shock, it is one of the major risks for the challenge of GVC participation. Like we already discussed that if any external shock, for example, there is some war going on and the connectivity is blocked, and it would be faced by every country in the loop. And uh, uh, especially the lower income countries, they would be more vulnerable to these disruptions. So this is one of the challenge to it, which is as highlighted in risk of external shocks. Then forward we have inflation linkages. It creates strong links in price formation, implying that inflation in one country is more likely to spill over to its direct and indirect trading partners. As discussed earlier, gaps in GVC participation, there, as we should know that there exists a significant gap between the ability of developing and developed countries in GVC participation. Participation in GVCs particularly depends on the capacity of countries to attract global production, including by promoting and fostering linkages between foreign enterprises and domestic companies, particularly MSMEs. And also we have challenges to MSMEs. MSMEs across the world, especially in developing countries, face significant impediments with the entry of global firms and the association competition in the local market. So these are some challenges to it, and I guess this is all about today's discussion. These were four important topics which we discussed. If I would summarize them, it was first we discussed about India and Greece relationship, where we saw that it was after 4 decades our prime minister visited that country, and we discussed some major agreements between India and Greece. Then after that we discussed about BRICS. We discussed about the expansion of BRICS, and what are the countries to be included, and we just discussed about why Argentina withdrew from it. And then after we discussed about what was the third topic which we discussed in our about Malabar exercise, and in that we discussed how it is not now just a Malabar exercise, it has more strategic and geopolitical importance. And after that we discussed about global value chains, and I hope this discussion is helpful for you and it would help you in clearing some of the important doubts, or it was helpful for you in understanding, and it helped you to know some important points which may be useful in your exams. So I wish you best of luck for your next year's, for your prelims, which is very much coming soon after elections. Oh, sorry, we have some a few slides more in it. Here we have to discuss about G20 generic framework for mapping GVCs. It is a, as we should know that it is a voluntary and non-binding generic mapping framework based on the following building blocks, which is data, analysis, and representation. By incorporating these building blocks, the framework can help in the identification of the sectors and products critical to GVC resilience. So here it is a voluntary and it is non-binding generic mapping framework based on following building blocks. Uh, in these building blocks, we have data analysis and representation. In data, we should know that GVC resilience frameworks should be based on collecting timely, high-quality sectorial data and voluntary providing firm-level data. Then in analysis, the complexity of GVCs necessitates the use of models and indicators which can provide key insights from such GVC data, and also representation. GVC resilience frameworks should use advanced technology tools that present underlying patterns from data analysis in a user-friendly manner. Let's see what should be the strategy for participation in GVCs. We had I I had missed many slides in it, so let us discuss about that. What should be the strategy for participation in GVCs? First one, the most important is building trust. Then we have encouraging interoperability. In building trust, it is a key to robust and adaptable global supply chain. If we have to understand this, we should know that a key to robust and adaptable global supply chain is trust. Quality infrastructure fosters this trust among trading partners, which is addressing consumer demands and facilitating private sector collaboration. For instance, enhance domestic monitoring of the logistics sector to ensure quality physical and digital logistics infrastructure. Also encouraging interoperability. The interoperability of standards and protocols among countries is essential for allowing supply chains to operate properly. These standards encapsulate best practices for safety, quality, and efficiency. And also mapping vulnerabilities. It is crucial to identify the hidden vulnerabilities. We should know, we should map these vulnerabilities within GVC, and we should develop resilience strategies to mitigate the impact of external shocks. For example, developing capabilities of local industries through schemes like performance linked initiatives. We should have clear legal framework, facilitate the establishment of legal frameworks which would promote transparency and ease of doing business, keep pace and evolve with the technological advancement, also strengthen contract enforcement, protect intellectual property rights, and improve standard regimes. So there should be clear legal frameworks. There should be transparency, ease of doing business. We should keep pace with the technological advancement. Also, we should strengthen contract enforcement. We should protect intellectual property rights and improve standard regimes. And the another point is promoting investment. Sustainable and inclusive GVCs require investment. The robust flow of capital transforms the economic relations of countries, integrating it effectively into the GVCs. And also we can see from here that integrating MSMEs in global trade, we have to integrate these MSMEs, particularly in developing countries. They play a significant role in value chain, but often they lack the important resource to collect and analyze all the relevant information for their target markets. So these are some things which some important points which we need to know. In it I would important for GVC's implementation, we should it is mapping vulnerabilities, map the vulnerabilities, and performance linked initiatives should be there. We should develop a resilience strategies to mitigate the impact of external shocks. There should be clear legal frameworks. We should promoting investment and integrating MSMEs in global trade. So I hope this is the last slide of today's discussion. Let's see.